Hi, my name is Donna Itzstein. I'm a credentialed diabetes educator pharmacist. I've worked as a community pharmacist for over 30 years, and it's my pleasure to discuss what and where you can find information about your medicines. In this session, we'll discuss what information you can find on your box or bottle of your medication, your prescription, and information from other sources. You may wish to pause this presentation at this point to retrieve your own medications and prescriptions, and that way you can participate in the activities that follow the first two sections. What will you find on the packaging of your medication? The brand name, the drug name or active ingredient name of your medicine, the instructions for use, ancillary labels, fillers or excipients of your medication, storage, expiry date, and batch number of your medication. If you flattened out a medication box, it would look like this. The brand name on this box is Diabrand XR, and that has been made up for this presentation. This drug company has named this specific brand with a name that is individual to the product. That brand will have an active ingredient with specific fillers and have the same production process and the same packaging each time. This brand name will be copyrighted to that particular company and product. You may, however, see this product as different strengths of this medication. Generally, the brand name will be found on the second line of the pharmacy label under the drug's name, as well as on various locations on the manufacturer's box. So let's relate medication branding to an example of food branding. You could say that Kellogg's has a well-known product called Rice Bubbles. Rice Bubbles is the brand produced by Kellogg's, and Rice Bubbles is the copyrighted brand name. Woolworths has a very similar product, but however calls theirs Rice Pops. You may also have seen them called Rice Puffs or even Breakfast Bubbles. You will note that no other company calls these similar products Rice Bubbles, as that is particular to Kellogg's and is a copyrighted brand name. So what does XR mean? And you'll see it in capital letters. You also might see it as ER or SR or MR. This means that the medications release in a slower, predictable fashion over a designated time. So unless you are directed to do so by your pharmacist, these medications must be swallowed whole. You cannot split, chew, or crush extended release medications. If you do break these tablets, they release at a faster rate than desired and may lead to a higher amount of medication in your blood and some unpleasant effects. Metformin tablets are actually quite large in size, but they are shaped like an elongated, smoothed-edged football, and this design does assist swallowing. However, if swallowing these tablets is difficult for you, please discuss it with your doctor or pharmacist. There may be alternatives available to you. The medication name in this example is metformin, and it may also be referred to as the drug name or the active ingredient. Metformin is generally found the first medication that's used in type 2 diabetes, and it's very common. And you'll find the drug name both on the manufacturer's box and bottle and on the pharmacy label as highlighted here. This is the active ingredient of your medication, and you may find the drug name a number of times on your medication box in various places. It can be found in the largest print under the brand name on the front of the box or bottle. The drug name will also be found in the pharmacy label on the very first line. Next to the drug name will be the strength of the medication. The strength may be in micrograms, milligrams, or grams. The example on this box is 500 milligrams, and therefore one tablet contains 500 milligrams of the active ingredient metformin. Metformin is also available in doses of 1 gram, which are twice the strength of 500 milligram tablets. So 2 500 milligram tablets is 1,000 milligrams or 1 gram. You may have heard of the term generic medication. This term refers to another brand with the same ingredient and the same strength of the active ingredient. That term is generally given to other brands which arrive on the pharmaceutical market after the patent expires on the original brand. An example is Diabex as the original brand and the many other brands such as Diaformin, Metex, Glucophage being generic brands. These brands contain the same active ingredient. Diabex is the original brand and the others are generic options. Apart from having the same active ingredient and the same strength, the generic options must show that they have the same actions and produce the same blood levels of active ingredient at a given time after taking the medication as the original brand does. This is also called bioavailability and is checked by the Therapeutic Goods Administration of Australia, which is our regulatory authority for therapeutic goods. They assess and monitor therapeutic goods available in Australia. The medications are also referred to as being bioavailable medications. When you purchase a prescribed medication, you may decide to accept the generic form. The advantage is that it has the same action as your original medication and will save on costs to you and maybe to the taxpayers. You may decide not to accept generic medications to save confusion, or you may be intolerant to the fillers in the generic medication. By choosing the original brand, you support the drug company making the original brand and therefore further research. Let's have a look at the label that the pharmacy places on your medication. It's individual to you at that time of dispensing. The location of this label may vary according to the information on the packaging and the size of the packaging itself. So here is just the pharmacy label from the previous medication box. The directions for use will be specific to you and they're found in the middle section of this pharmacy label as we've highlighted here. They may have the quantity of the dosage form in both numeral and written form, as you can see here on this label. The frequency and the recommended time of day will be added to the label in writing. For example, once at night, or it could say something like 3 times a day. In this example, it says in the evening. Other information such as swallowed whole and when to take this in relation to food will be stated in the directions of the pharmacy label. You may find other notes such as how long to take the medication or maybe starting doses. Other things that you may find on the pharmacy label are the pharmacy's contact details in case you need to contact them, your name, the name of the doctor that prescribed your medication, the date in which you were supplied the medicine, the cost of the medication to you, and if it's partially subsidised, the full cost of the medication. In this case, the full cost of the medicine is $9. Mrs. Hart paid $6.60 as a concessional price. The pharmacist's initial, in this case their DI. The repeats remaining, so we can see that there is 1 repeat remaining. The barcode on the label allows the pharmacist to check that they are supplying the correct medication to you and it's matched to the barcode on the manufacturer's box at the time of dispensing. Here are some examples of extra labels called ancillary labels that your pharmacist may add to your medication box. Things that you might find on medications for diabetes include the example of the top label, and that tells you that this particular brand has been is a substitute for the original brand, so that it warns you not to take both this medication and your original brand at the same time, as they have the same active ingredient. If you take both brands at the same time, it would mean that you would be double dosing. Going back to the front and side section of the original packaging, on this box there is the active ingredient metformin, but also other ingredients, and they're called excipients or fillers. Excipients are added to the tablet or capsule for various reasons, such as to bind or bulk the tablets, to keep a tablet or the main ingredient dry and stable, to lubricate the tablet as it goes through the manufacturing process, to maintain the speed in which it dissolves in your digestive system, or excipients could just be the outer shell of a capsule or a tablet which disguises taste, or it could be to maintain the speed in which it dissolves. Please note that not all excipients may be listed on the packaging. If you need a complete list, ask your pharmacist. Why is this list important? Well, it may be important if you have an intolerance or allergy to a particular excipient. Some medications might say they contain sugar, glucose, or lactose. These items are actually carbohydrates, but the amount that you will find in the tablet should be minimal and will not affect your blood glucose levels. Going back to the original whole box of the medication flattened out, the storage conditions may be found in various places on the original packaging. The batch number and expiry date are generally found on one of the box's flaps or on the side of the bottle label. The storage conditions and the expiry date are related. The expiry date on the container is the time that it takes for about 10% of the active ingredient to degrade when it is kept in the storage conditions stated. In this case, that is below 30 degrees Celsius. For some medications, that might be a little bit more tightly controlled, such as in insulin. So at this expiry date of the 30th of May 2023, we would expect that 90% of the metformin is active and available. But this is only if the medication was kept below 30 degrees during that time. If temperatures were higher during this time, the medication would have degraded faster and less of the active ingredient would be available at the expiry date. The substance that results from the breakdown of the active ingredient has to be harmless. Use of an expired product will simply result in a lesser or no response to the medication. The storage conditions assume that you will not only keep the medication at the correct temperature, but in its original packaging and out of direct sunlight. For instance, if you take some medications out of blister packaging, they are exposed to air, and this may increase the rate of breakdown. A good example is aspirin. So if you've ever left an uncoated aspirin tablet on the bench for a prolonged period of time, you will notice that it crumbles and turns pink. This is the active ingredient being exposed to humidity and breaking down. Some people may repackage their own medications into medication dosing units. Please, if you do this, check that with your pharmacist that these medications are suitable for repackaging in this manner. If you have your medicines repackaged by the pharmacy, they already know this and will tell you if there is a medication that needs to be left in its original packaging. Do keep all medications well labelled and out of the reach of children. The batch number here is 123456. It may be printed or embossed. The batch number identifies the batch of this medication out of that particular manufacturing run. And it's important if the batch number of this medication is withdrawn. The reasons a batch may be withdrawn can be as serious as incorrect dosing or as minor as a slight change in the dye strength of a tablet or a capsule that results in a slightly different appearance. The medications must go through extensive quality assurance during manufacturing and checks before they are released for distribution. A batch number is tracked from the manufacturer through the wholesaler and into the pharmacy, and it allows your pharmacy to recall and replace your medication if necessary. At the end of this slide, please pause to examine your own medications. Can you find the brand name and whether it's extended release, the drug name and generic name of your medication, the instructions on your pharmacy label, any ancillary labels, the fillers or excipients in your medication, storage and expiry date and batch number of the medication. Please pause now. In this next section, we will explore the information you can find on your prescriptions, such as the active ingredient or brand name, the quantity to be supplied, how your medication is to be used or taken, your doctor's name, address, contact details, and prescribing details, an authority number, your name and address, the dates of prescribing and dispensing, which pharmacy supplied the medication, number of repeats, and the number of times it has been supplied to you. In this sample of a script is for Gladys Hart. So when your doctor writes a prescription, it's a legal document between the doctor and you, and it tells the pharmacist what to supply. As with other legal documents, you must not alter a prescription. You will receive what looks like 2 copies of the prescription. The first part is used with the first dispensing and stays with the pharmacy. You'll notice that it has Medicare DVA in the grey side section. It also has a section at the bottom of the prescription where you sign, date, and write your address. When you receive this medication, you are signing to verify receipt. This part of the prescription is kept by the pharmacy. The second part of the prescription is labelled Pharmacist Patient Copy, and this section continues with the prescription after the first dispensing. It allows the pharmacist to verify the correct medication is being given to you during the life of the repeats. This copy of the prescription can never be used on its own to supply your medicine. In the middle section of your prescription, you will find the name of your medication, its strength and form. The medication may be represented as the active ingredient name, or it could be the brand name, as in this example. Metformin is the active ingredient and Diabrand is the brand. The strength of the medication may be represented in milligrams, grams, or micrograms, in this case as milligrams. The form of the dose here is tablets, and that may or may not be represented on the prescription. On this prescription, the tablets are extended release form, and that's represented by a capital XR. For a medication dosage form that starts releasing immediately upon ingestion, you may see capital IR on the prescription, or there could be no lettering at all. On this prescription, in the highlighted green section, the quantity that will be supplied to Gladys will be, with each dispensing, will be 120 tablets. This is generally, but not always, the size of the box or bottle the manufacturer has supplied. Dr. J. Lee Bean has requested 5 repeats for Mrs. Gladys Hart. This means that Gladys can get 6 supplies of Diabrand XR 120 tablets in total over the time span of the prescription. That is 1 original supply, which is repeated 5 more times. The directions say 1 nocte. Nocte is from the Latin language for night, and CC represents with food. The reason Latin is used on prescriptions is that it's a dead language, therefore is not used except in this capacity and is globally understood. So if Gladys travelled overseas, the directions on this prescription can be understood in any country by any pharmacist or doctor. If Dr. Bean and Gladys decided that Gladys should only have the Diabrand brand of metformin, the doctor can then cross the box marked brand substitution not permitted. If this box is not crossed, Gladys has the choice of this brand or another generic brand. At the top of each section of the prescription will be the doctor's name and address and practice phone number and the doctor's prescriber number. If your prescription requires authorization to be supplied to you, an authority number will also be on the script, and you can see it on this script in the top white section, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Requirement of authority may be to ensure that it is being used cost effectively, or it could be to limit its use for safety reasons. In the next section down, you will find Gladys's Medicare number, and that's used to identify her, and also when the medication is subsidized by the pharmaceutical benefit scheme. This next section may contain a concessional number. Gladys has a concession card. We know this because of what she paid for the medication. In this example, it has not been added to the prescription by the prescriber. The last part of this section has Gladys's name and address. At the top of the next section is the date of prescribing. This prescription and its repeats may be used for 12 months, and that is, in this case, until the 27th of May 2021. Because Gladys is only taking 1 tablet a day, she will not be able to use all of these repeats, but often a quantity and the number of repeats will be matched to about 6 months supply, and that reminds us all to go back for a doctor's checkup. Other items that may be included in a prescription include your date of birth and a minimal interval between supplies. The prescription may have a barcode at the top or bottom, which allows the script to be electronically imported into the pharmacy computer. The prescriber, Dr. J. Lee Bean, has signed both copies to validate this prescription. Please note that if any details are left off the prescription or the details do not match with your therapy, it's the pharmacist's duty to check up on these details for your safety. So once you've had your first supply, 1 copy of the prescription is replaced with a repeat form. This repeat form will have some of the same information, such as your address details, the prescription authority number, the medication name, the brand name, the directions in plain English as displayed on your medication label, your Medicare number, your concession, pension or safety net number, and the name of your doctor. As we mentioned, this repeat must stay attached to the original pharmacist patient copy that was supplied. This is noted also at the top of the repeat form. As with the barcode on the original prescription, the barcode on the repeat form allows the prescription to be electronically imported into the pharmacy computer. The date of prescribing, as highlighted on the repeat form, will match the original pharmacist patient copy. The date the prescription was last dispensed, as well as the name of the pharmacy or pharmacist which dispensed the prescription, is found at the bottom white section of the prescription. If you are reading this prescription along with me, the date of prescribing is the 27th of May 2020. And it was last dispensed by Robert Crandall of Bob's Corner Pharmacy on the 27th of June 2020. 3412E is the approval number of that particular pharmacy for the supply of medicines. In the middle section, when reading this prescription, you will notice that the number of repeats allowed on this prescription is 5. So do remember that means the original 1 supply, and this supply can be repeated 5 more times. This equals 6 supplies allowed in total. the number of times that it has been supplied is 4, and therefore the medication may be supplied 2 more times. That is 2 repeats remaining. And you see this stated in the middle section of the repeat. The next supply of the prescription will say 5 and 1 repeat remaining. And with the last supply, Gladys will have no paperwork returned to her. Please pause at the end of this slide to investigate your own prescriptions. Can you find the active ingredient, brand name and quantity supplied, how your medication is to be used or taken, your doctor's name, address, contact details, and the doctor's prescribing details, an authority number, your name and address, the dates of prescribing and dispensing, which pharmacy supplied your medication, the number of repeats and the number of times it has been supplied to you, and how many repeats or supplies you have left. Please pause now. If you're looking for more information regarding your medication, you could request a consumer medicines information sheet or a CMI from your pharmacist or doctor. Information you can find on a CMI is the active ingredient, what your medicine is used for and how it works, other medicines that may affect the way this medication works, possible dosing instructions. However, your GP will have directions specifically for you, and those are the ones that you will follow. Any things to look out for: storage and disposal information, possible side effects and when to seek help, what excipients or fillers are in the medication, and the manufacturer's details. Another source of information are fact sheets that are easily downloaded from the National Diabetes Services Scheme or NDSS website. These include medications for type 2 diabetes, a fact sheet on insulin, and a final fact sheet about concerns about starting insulin, which you may have living with type 2 diabetes. You also may be interested in attending one of our workshops. MedSmart is a workshop funded by the NDSS at no cost to you, and it covers topics such as how your diabetes medication works, reading medication labels, possible adverse effects, and allows you to address concerns that you may have regarding your medication. To find out more or to book, please contact NDSS on 1800 637 700. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call the NDSS helpline on 1800 637 700.